That's the one that bubble
So, yeah, I figured out it's quite easy to turn yourself on. Just need to find the right switch. So, you know, this work is very simple. And we can make it complicated. But the reality is this. Wherever we are is what's required. Whatever is unfolding around us is what's required. If it's uncomfortable to us, it's because there is an emotional signature underlying it, most likely. And being with that emotional signature, wherever we can tune into it without condition, is the most powerful resonance we can bring to bear to that. That will bring about what's required for resolution. Nothing else will. Done deal, right? So that's the one aspect of the story. The other thing is, remember The Karate Kid, the movie? I don't know if you saw that. Yes. Right? Where he comes for his first lesson and he wants to do karate, right? And the teacher says, go and wash my car. And he's a bit infuriated by that because he came to do karate, not wash car, right? So he's washing the car and he's kind of really glum about it. He's kind of really glum about it. And the karate teacher comes out and says, no light, wax on, wax off. Like, what? Wax on or wax off? Wax on, wax off. It's like, this guy is mad. Wax on, wax off. Of course, when he gets into his first spar and someone tries to strike him and he goes, wax on, wax off. Alchemy is wax on, wax off. It's not about what we think it's about. It's not about that, I get this done and then I'm going to have no abundance problems and I'm going to be living in a nice house and I'm going to get the job I want and I'm going to get everything. It's not about that. Alchemy is not about that. Alchemy is wax on, wax off. Every time an emotional signature arises, wax on, wax off. Every time we get upset, wax on, wax off. And as your journey unfolds, however it unfolds to you, you will enter experiences, or you can think of as revelations, in which something happens and you will go wax on, wax off, and go, right? And whatever the way that you encounter that, that's for you. But all I'm trying to communicate to you here is, this is not what you think it's about. It's not about living happily ever after in a paradigm that doesn't work. It's not about that relationship book that tells you how to make your relationship work, when relationship itself is a paradigm that is non-functional. We were saying today at lunch, I was driving in a car. I got picked up at the airport. Someone was taking me to a presentation and he was kind of sitting there in his car, driving along, and he said to me, people tell me I've got to think outside the box. But what if thinking is the box? This work is not about what we think it is. But what will unfold is as we enter it and participate in it, it will reveal itself to us. Because what it's about cannot be spoken, cannot really be contained by thought. But it opens us up to that, and we will have our experience of that as is required, as we are able to contain it. And the wax on, wax off, it's like in the Karate Kid, the wax on, wax off enabled him to contain the experience in the fight in such a way that he could be there and function as was required. It's the same with this. All this alchemy is going to teach us about containing something. And you can't really say what that is because it's beyond saying. But as you go through the work, it will begin to show itself to you, if it hasn't already. Because anyone who's entered the work of the heart knows it's for real. It's for real. This is not messing about. This is the real stuff. This is the real deal. And it will show itself to you. So, does anyone have a question? I think there's a microphone that's going to be brought to you. Right there.
So, in relationship, we want to do our own work. And I can think of two ways of doing that. One is to have the other person be the mirror. You see what's off, and you go and you do your own work, and come back and you're in a better spot. I could also imagine actually doing your work in front of your partner, but it's your work. And it's like you're saying, well, this is what's happening, and I can see this is do you have a recommendation?
First, I want to say that is a fabulous question. It's a fantastic question. Because there is two things going on in the intimacy experience when you're working with someone. The one is the emotional imprint that's coming up. It's like you do something and it upsets me, it sets me up, but you're not upset. There's no impact on you whatsoever. You're like, I don't know what you're upset about. And you're like, it's the end of the world. No, I don't know what you're upset about. I feel nothing. That means if it upsets you and not your companion, it's got nothing to do with them at all. And you need to take that off on your own and go and be with it and resolve it and go to the point of insight before you open your mouth. Because any opening of the mouth is going to be an attempt to feel better about it. Do not speak about it until you have resolved it. And you'll know when you resolved it because the other person won't be to blame anymore. In any way, energetically, mentally, emotionally. And get to that point of insight. You see, the mental body would have us believe that unless I understand, I cannot heal. Unless I understand, understanding comes first, healing comes afterwards. Wrong. Healing comes first. The integration of the emotional signature first. And once that comes to a point of resolution, I will receive insight because my sight inwardly would have been opened more, and I will have insight about what's happening with me. And when I speak out of that insight, the person I speak to won't close off, go into offense or defense, because it's no longer about them. That's how I know I've received the insight. It's not about them having been to blame or any of them changing their behavior or me changing my way around them. All that's gone. It's just insight about what that was and where it came, if it's required. So that's the one thing. The other is when both get triggered simultaneously. It happens in the same moment, right? You're driving along in the car, someone says something and you both go, ooh, right? And you both feel that emotional signature rise simultaneously. And in that has got to do with awakening the common experience. What is the emotional signature that is blocking the common experience? Now, there is an experience that I'm having of this human world. There is an experience I am having. It's very much personal to me, determined by my emotional imprints, etc., etc. Part of the intimacy work is awakening to what's called the common experience. The common experience is love. That's what love is. Love is the experience we have in common. An awakening to what that is. And so when we're doing intimacy work, there are emotional signatures that are going to come up within us simultaneously, and that's directly related to something that's blocking our way of being together. And in that situation, you can do what we call bench work. And bench work is when you just sit together in amidst the signature. You cannot speak about it. There is nothing to say. You cannot do anything about it. You sit in the fire together. But there is very important to have a signal, because remember, the moment that triggering happens, we both go into an altered state. Right? Simultaneously, both of us enter an altered state. And that altered state, what that is as I'm driving along and I change gears, say from third to fourth. As I go from third to fourth, when I'm in between the two, I'm not in gear. I'm in the shift. And in the shift, although the car's moving forward, there is no power. I'm just on the momentum of previous momentum. And in that shift, that's what's happening when we get triggered simultaneously. We have entered a shift. We're changing gears in the way we are being with each other. We're now going to remove something that's blocking us from having a more intimate common experience. Right? And in that moment, in the shift, you can't speak about it. You can't say a word. All speaking will be an attempt to feel better. You can't do anything about it. All doing will be an attempt to sedate it, control it, stamp it out, cage it, get rid of it, kill it, get away from it. What's actually happening is a breakup. That's the moment of breakup. Breaking something so that the energy that you're experiencing with each other can move up a frequency. And the only way to accomplish that is to be together in the midst of it. Don't try and make each other feel better. Don't try and speak and get the other person to agree with you so you feel better. Don't try and explain yourself, because it's a very uncomfortable and awkward situation. It is awkward. It is uncomfortable. It's unbearable. Something is dying. It's like dying, sitting next to someone and dying, and they're dying too, and you sit in that place. If you want to make it more powerful, you can face each other and look at each other. You're not allowed to speak though. You just stay with the feeling and keep your attention on the feeling and just be with each other. Because sooner or later, what's happening is something is vibrating, and what that is the past. Something that's not real. A blockage that's there from past imprinting. That's been passed from generation to generation. And if you stay in the moment and just be with each other in the moment, it can't live. It cannot live. It's going to vibrate and vibrate and vibrate, and suddenly, whoosh, there'll be an opening. And you'll know the opening will come because one of you will start laughing. Just laughter. There'll be then you'll see the funniness of it, right? And once that laughter starts, it's all over. And it's not laughing at, it's laughing with. And suddenly there will be a shift, it'll be gone, and you will have insight about what it was about. And when you share that insight with each other, that will add to intimacy. Not only that, but when you know that you can sit together through that, and it doesn't mean the end of the world, you are creating a strength that will show you're opening to the vibrational together. And it will create a strength within you that will be there in such a way that you will know that if that person's journey takes them away from you, and physically you're no longer together, that you're always going to be that close no matter where they are. And it doesn't matter if that person ends up in a partnership with someone else and you end up with someone else, you will know you can always At any moment, pick up the phone and go, hey. And that level of intimacy will always be there because it's open. That has been opened now. And so the thing about it, whether you're processing on your own or whether you're processing with another in their company, talking doesn't help. It doesn't help. Talking about it to someone, with someone, does not help. It helps if you want to release, but it doesn't help if you want to resolve. And there is a definite distinction between releasing and resolving. Releasing is any work I do to feel better about what's going on. Resolving is when I do work to get better at feeling. Right? When I get better at feeling. And you can also, you can initiate that level of work together through gazing with your companion. If you have a companion and you are conscious with each other and doing conscious intimacy work, then you can gaze. The gazing is like the breathing in the presence process. And all that is you sit opposite each other, just further than knee to knee. You're not touching each other. And you look into each other's eyes. It's best to look into one eye and they look into one eye, and you just sit there and be with the person. 15 minutes. No speaking. No, just be there. And what that practice does, it's a causal practice. And it's not about the experience you have when you're with the person gazing with them, because yes, there will be an experience there, whatever it is valid. But it's about what unfolds over the next couple of days. Because over the next couple of days, you're going to get sucker punched by the universe when you're together in some way. You might be together, you may be separated, but you'll receive the sucker punch simultaneously. Because when you gaze, you're being together, you're not doing anything. And that causal practice is going to bring up out of the emotional realm the blockages that are causing you to do things because you can't be together. All the stuff you do together because you can't be together. You're unable to be. And the doings, the emotional signatures underlying those doings are going to surface as upsets. And then you be together through that upset. If you're together, you be with it and let it come to a point of resolution, and a deeper level of intimacy is accomplished until it's completely open. Eventually it'll be completely open. And when that opening happens, when you now have established the common experience with each other, that is the telepathy. That is the knowing. I know you're thinking about me. I know I pick up the phone to phone you, and the phone rings and it's you phoning me. It's all of that experience just starts to happen because that's the common experience. I'm now in the frequency that you're in. I'm in the vibrational with you. I'm actually meeting with you in the vibrational, no longer in the emotional, mental, or physical. That's where I'm anchored with you. And once I'm anchored with you in that place, nothing can take that away. It doesn't matter if I live on another planet, it'll never take it away. It'll always be there, right? And the intimacy journey is about establishing that with one human being. Because when I establish that with one human being, I open the channel for that with everybody. Truly with everybody. And really I'm doing the bottom of the barrel work in taking the conditions off what I thought love was, so that I can be open to what love is, so that I may now consciously establish my intimate relationship with whatever God is for me. That's the object of the intimate relationship, is to clean the bottom of the barrel so that I may establish a very conscious relationship with what God is for me. Intimacy with God. Intimacy with myself, intimacy with my family, intimacy with another, intimacy with whatever God is for me. And it'll come out as intimacy with nature. Intimacy is what we're really after. Once we experience deeper levels of intimacy, we'll realize enlightenment is just not what it's about. That's a mental concept. It's about intimacy. I want to be intimate with myself. Intimate with my family. Intimate with whoever my companion is, if I have one. Intimate with other human beings. Intimate with the grocer. Intimate, right? Intimate with nature. And just be there. Show up and be without condition and not interfere with the experience. That's what allows the intimacy to be there. I allow you to be who you are, and I'm only able to allow you to be who you are if I'm able to allow myself to be Right?
Hi. That answered a lot of what I'm about to ask, but mine's a little different. I'm just going through I'm in a relationship, we're not married. We've been together for almost a year, and when we first met, we were both at the same level of intimacy, and that's how we connected. It wasn't sexual. Of course, we felt that, all that, but the number one thing in our friendship at the time was our intimacy, just talking to each other and growing. And he kept growing while I fell back and
See, that's your answer right there, right? That feeling, that's what you want to be with. That's the answer to your question.
I know, I just realized that just this last week, because he's on a different level than I am now.
There's no levels.
There's
no levels. That's the answer to your question right there. Right?
Because I feel like he is. Because
That's a story. Don't forget the story. Let go of the story. It's just a story, right?
My question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's just a story. The thing is, that's your answer there. Can you receive it?
Yeah.
Can you accept it? That's the answer. That feeling, be with that without condition.
Right.
Everything that you want to figure out, that will give to you. That's the nutrition. Right? It's given to you right there. No one has to do anything.
Yeah,
Right?
I've been feeling that last week, just being me again and being open, and I've been hiding that for months from him. And he told me, he goes, I don't feel the same about you like I first did when I first met you. My love is different for you, and that just killed me because...
No, it killed the part of you that needs and wants it to be some other way. It killed the needy, wanting part has to die, right? Because it's not, you're making it personal.
Yeah.
It's not personal. It's not personal. Although when you're in it, it very is, because really who's hurting is the child, right? And now give that child the love. You give it the love you've been looking to try and get from him, right?
Yeah.
So that clingy, sticky stuff.
Yeah, I started getting that
Yeah.
way, and I just realized what I was doing.
Yeah.
Just this week, and well, my question is it too late? I mean,
What, too late to get what you need and want?
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm not thinking about myself.
No, you see, this is perfect. Stop right there. That is beautiful, and thank you, because that is what we are faced with in this journey of intimacy, right? Exactly what you're going through, I've just been through it, right? I've just been through the same thing, right? I didn't get what I needed and wanted, and my child went, wah! Okay. But that's what we've come to cleanse, because that feeling, that wanting, that idea that you think you know what you need and want, that's what's keeping you closed, right? That's what's keeping your heart you closed to your own heart, right? And so that's why I'm saying the answer is that emotional signature that rose up, right? Because we ask and you receive immediately if we're attuned. And so that's what we all are going to face when we enter the intimacy journey, is that we will come together and on some level establish something, and then there will be a movement apart. There'll be a movement apart. Even having a pet is part of that journey, right? Because what a pet is, for me, I'm a cat lover. And cats are extraordinary creatures, right? What they do is they come along right into your heart, right? And then they either die or go away. And what happens is, right at the center of your heart, somewhere that you wouldn't let anyone else, and they get in and they pull this thing out, right? That you wouldn't let out. And so the lover is there for that job. It's not the happily ever after. That's why I'm saying it's not about what you think it is. It's not personal. The lover is the one that you allow deep enough in to pull out the deepest hurt. So so it can be resolved. They're not there to make sure that that feels better. Right. And so your journey is wonderful on that level. And that's why, you've been a demonstration for us that it's not what we think it's about, but really that's what it's about. Totally. That's exactly what it's about. Better than I could have explained it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very quick question.
Yep. Go there.
Well, I just want to know, why is the emotional food so bitter? It's very quick. Why is the emotional food that we must nourish ourselves, why does it have to be fear, grief, anger? Why is it so bitter to take?
I don't know. The why questions are tough. And the Vedas, I think they say, don't ask why. Yeah, don't ask why. But what I encourage you to do is to stay with the question. And I'll stay with the question too. It's a very, it's almost like my answer to that question when I asked it within myself was, if I want to be a bodybuilder, if I want to be Mr. Universe, I'm not going to accomplish it by sitting on the couch watching TV. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to have to go to the gym and work out and go through so much pain, destroy my muscles and let them callous. Destroy my muscles and let them callous. Just until they build up, so that I can have the physique of a bodybuilder, if that's my intent. You want to hold an awareness of what God is? And you want to be able to feel that? Welcome to the gym. There's the microphone.
Oh, sorry. But getting to the presence process, I think in your book you recommend trying to do it 3 times, the whole process. I did it twice, and it really kicked my butt. The upheaval and the emotional stuff, and I know I've read on your website you're not into groups for this at all. My question is, there was so much stuff that came up through the 6 months, because I did it 3 months, took a month off, and 7 months. I'm hesitant to do it again. It's really...
That's real. That's the problem.
And I found it hard to stay with my stuff, because I had no one to really bounce it off of. And that's when I really wish I did have like a group or something. Mm-hmm. Because it was gnarly at times.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have a group, but you always had what you required. And if you require a group, one will be around you. So it's really about what we require. The thing about the presence process is I do recommend going through it 3 times, because the first time can be a very physical encounter. We're into the physical breathing. We're really having physical discomforts. And then the second time we go through, we're going to have kind of insights and really mental understandings are going to happen. And the third time we go through, we're going to sink more into the emotional. So it's moving from the physical through the mental into the emotional. But in saying that, it's very important to trust your experience above and beyond anything I say. It's very important to take your experience as your teacher. And many people know who've done this process, they get to session 7 and they stop. Because session 7 is the beginning of the fear, then 8 is the anger, then 9 is the grief. And so that's not, the heart's going, you're not going in there yet. Not ready for that. There's some integration required and some other life and some relocation and stuff going to happen in your life so that you can contain that, right? So it's not about forcing yourself into any experience. Trust yourself. There's no badges here for getting your ass kicked unnecessarily. It's going to happen anyway. And what's important is that be very clear about what your intent is when entering this work. Because I found that those that really struggle with the presence process are people who want to get it all done. I just want to get it all done. Okay, well, here it all is then. Too much, well, I'm overwhelmed. No, I want to get it all done. Well, actually, you know what all means? My generational imprint, my racial imprint, my cultural imprint, my religious imprint, my sexual imprint, my family imprint, my national imprint. I want to get it all done in 10 weeks. No, so there's no hurry. Right? And every step we take, really more than 10 steps are taken for us. There's so much grace when we take responsibility for our experience, but trust that if you don't feel like it's time to go back in, you don't go back in. There's no rules here. The whole intent of all of this work is to place you as a disciple of your heart and of no other, of your own heart, and to let that be your teacher. And really listen to it above and beyond anything I or anyone else may say, right? And eventually that's a rite of passage. That's why we eventually walk away from groups, from organizations we've been part of for a long time, because it's in order to truly take the heart as a teacher. So, I was involved with an organization for 20 years. Walking away was hard. I felt like I was doing something wrong, right? But walking away was the only way that I could truly be with my heart as my teacher. And the moment, I walked away, things really started moving for me. Really, because I was honoring my heart as going like, I'm really going to trust you. There's no one else. And now I don't have anyone to ask. I don't have anyone to ask. That's my reality. I don't have anyone out here to ask. And thank you. Now I know the only one is here. And that's the level of the journey we want to get to. It doesn't mean that anyone arrives or anywhere or it's easier for anyone, because I get kicked all over the place. But it's about whether I respond or react. So whatever your experience is with the presence process, respond to it. Don't force yourself into anything. One time through the presence process is months of integration. If we're troopers, we can jump in every 3 weeks and do it 3 times. Take 3 weeks off and then jump in and then take 3 weeks off. But at some point, I really hope everyone who's doing this walks away from it. Because otherwise it becomes a tool of sedation and control. It is a transitionary procedure. Just like the 40-day walk out of the wilderness, you will stop looking at your list and ticking, and looking, because once you enliven your state of being, you will be behaving in that way. That will be your manner throughout the day, that I automatically tune in with the emotional signature. When things get weird, I automatically go to the emotional signature and say, what's going on here? Right, where is this? Okay, let me be with that. I don't have to understand it. I don't have to know what it's about. I trust that being without condition at the emotional point, the emotional signature, the felt aspect of my experience, is everything. I take care of that. Everything else is added unto me. Everything else is added unto me. It's profound. And that's the paradigm we're being invited into. That paradigm. So, one more question. Wow, it better be good. No, I'm only joking.
My question's about physical pain.
Yes.
And I really get into doing when I'm in pain, trying to get rid of it.
Yes.
And
What is the pain that you're having?
I have neck problems with shoulder and head stuff.
Right.
It's not all the time, but it's quite often.
Yes.
And I was wondering, is that food to be digested as well?
Absolutely. What you want to do is put that on your list.
Oh.
Okay. You want to put that on your list, but you want to connect. Well, how does it feel to have this neck thing going on?
It feels like I want it to go away.
No, that's a concept. Okay, that's the mental body. How does it feel to have this going on with you?
It feels sad.
Okay, now get somewhere, right? Where do you feel that in your body? Okay, put it in your list. Be with that every day. That's the causal point. It doesn't mean don't take care of your neck. I say get yourself an inversion table, go upside down every day, take some weight off, do the physical thing. But always go to the causal point. That's the causal point. Be with that emotional signature, that grief that hasn't been taken care of, right? Because that grief's a pain in the neck. It's really just... right? Thank you all for coming. It's been fun. And one thing. For those of you, I would recommend you go onto the website and go onto the audio page. There's an audio page in the menu. And on there is a one-on-one session. And that you just go and enjoy that, because it'll be a recap on the daily bread and the top 10 list and the 40-day walk out of the wilderness. All of that will be recapped in that session. You can just go and listen to it. It's free. And it'll just remind you of, because to me that is the most important thing. When we are digesting our emotional food and our vibrational food every day, it gets groovy very fast. All right? So thank you. Thank you for coming.